I mean, what if the absolute most dangerous thing a person can say to you isn't even a direct insult, but like just the word sorry?
Oh, weaponized apologies. Literally the most dangerous.
Right. Babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And honestly, if Bravo cameras followed us around, the biggest scandal would probably be deciding where to order dinner from.
Which is a genuine nightly crisis, let's be real.
It is, but today we are unpacking the absolute explosive chaos in Orange County. I'm talking weaponized apologies, parents who refuse to parent, and literally holding jewelry hostage.
So much to get into.
Yeah.
And to fortify us for this mess, Snark Squad, I have mixed up a fresh batch of our official signature cocktail tonight.
Oh, yes. Tell them what we're drinking.
We are drinking orange creamsicle martinis because, honestly, if there's one thing Orange County deserves, it's a heavily themed, like overly sweet drink with a really sharp vodka kick.
To wash down the delusion.
Exactly. Cheers to you, babes.
Cheers. Oh, wow. The vanilla and the citrus in this?
Yeah.
Dangerously good. I desperately needed this today, honestly, because I am still emotionally recovering from this weekend.
Wait, what happened this weekend?
Okay, so I met up with the girls for what was pitched in the group chat as, like, a quick catch-up brunch.
No. A quick brunch doesn't exist.
It doesn't. And I need us to analyze why brunch instantly mutates into a 4-hour hostage situation. Like, we sat down at 11 and suddenly the sun was setting.
Well, the psychology of brunch is fascinating because brunch isn't actually a meal. It's like a temporal anomaly.
A temporal anomaly.
Yeah. Time literally stops existing the second you sit on a patio. You sit down at 11, the sunlight is hitting the table, you're looking at the menu, and then suddenly it's 3:30 in the afternoon, the waiter actively resents you, and you're debating if you need to order, like, a second round of truffle fries just to financially justify holding the table hostage.
That is so real. You're just paying rent for the chairs at that point.
It's a total suspension of reality.
And the suspension of reality begins with the menu crisis, okay? I spiraled for a solid 20 minutes over the sweet versus savory divide.
The impossible choice.
You cannot order both without looking completely unhinged to the rest of the table. But the second you commit to a spinach frittata, you spend the entire meal staring at someone else's Belgian waffle with just like unfiltered resentment.
Oh, the regret is immediate. And can we talk about the cultural phenomenon of pancakes?
Breeze.
Like, is ordering a massive stack of chocolate chip pancakes at 1:15 in the afternoon a cry for help? Or is it just, socially acceptable self-care?
We mask as dining.
Exactly. I argue it's a cry for help draped in maple syrup. But society created this brilliant loophole.
What's the loophole?
You order them for the table.
Oh my God, yes. We'll just get the ricotta pancakes for the middle.
Right. And let's be honest, nobody actually wants them in the middle. Everyone at that table wants to pull that plate close and devour them in isolation.
Right.
But the social contract of brunch dictates we have to pretend they're a communal appetizer, just to alleviate the collective guilt of eating dessert in the middle of the day.
That is the exact delusion that keeps the brunch economy afloat. And the group dynamic at that table, it's a psychological study in power and forgiveness.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we always have that one friend in the group who's perpetually 20 minutes late.
Always.
They breeze in, sunglasses still on indoors, completely unapologetic about derailing the reservation. And what do? We instantly forgive them. Every single time.
Well, we forgive them because the late friend understands the currency of the event.
Which is?
Gossip. They are always the one carrying the nuclear codes. They sit down, drop their designer bag, and immediately launch into, you will not believe the text I just got.
And suddenly no one cares that they missed the first round of coffees.
Exactly. But if we analyze the gossip itself, there is a fundamental difference in the mechanics of brunch gossip versus dinner gossip.
Wait, I've actually thought about this. I think it comes down to the environment dictating the vulnerability.
What do you mean?
Like, dinner gossip feels refined. It's whispered over candlelight. It feels hushed and nuanced. You're leaning in.
Right.
Brunch gossip is loud, it is messy, and it is entirely fueled by daylight delusion.
Daylight delusion, yes.
You're sitting in the blazing sun, shouting across a crowded patio about who liked whose Instagram story, completely ignoring the fact that the table next to you can hear every single word.
Because the daylight removes the intimacy, so it feels like there are zero consequences. You're basically just broadcasting.
Broadcasting to the entire zip code.
And the primary catalyst for that broadcasting is the bottomless mimosa.
Oh, dangerous territory.
I have a theory that bottomless mimosas are not actually a social lubricant. They are a citrus-scented wrecking ball.
Wait, a wrecking ball?
Yes. It's cheap, sparkling wine masked by orange juice that spikes your blood sugar and lowers your inhibitions just enough to make you aggressively repeat the same sentence at a higher decibel level because you're convinced you're having a profound heart-to-heart.
Okay, I completely reject the wrecking ball theory.
You do.
I do. I think the bottomless mimosa acts as a necessary truth serum.
A truth serum.
Yes. It strips away the week's corporate anxiety and allows you to actually tell your friends how much you love them, even if you were shouting it over a DJ playing house music at noon. The manic energy is bonding.
Okay, fine.
It is. It's the exact same manic energy we have both been bringing to decorating our new apartments, by the way.
Oh, don't even get me started on the apartments.
Babes, we thought we were just going to buy a nice rug and call it a day, but we have somehow turned interior decorating into a full-time, unpaid internship.
An unpaid internship that is actively draining the gross domestic product of my household.
Literally.
The retail loops are designed to break your psyche. Do you know what is happening in my living room right now? The throw pillows are multiplying.
You reproduce.
I started with 2. A sensible, symmetrical 2 pillows. I woke up this morning, and there are somehow 7 pillows on my sofa. They're breeding like gremlins.
You can't even sit down.
You can't. You have to excavate a spot in the cushion avalanche just to watch TV.
The throw pillow arms race is real, but my financial ruin is coming entirely from the candle industry.
Candles.
I keep buying $50 candles with abstract names like Midnight Fig or Sandalwood Memory, simply because they match the visual vibe of the room.
But do you like them?
I refuse to light them. Lighting them would burn up the investment. They are purely structural elements of my apartment at this point.
We are victims of the IKEA maze mentality.
Completely.
You walk into a home since telling yourself, I am a rational adult. I am here for a single silicone spatula.
And then?
3 hours later, you are lost in the marketplace labyrinth. Your cart is full of fake succulents, a sheepskin throw you absolutely do not need, and, like, a lamp shaped like an artichoke.
The artichoke lamp. It happens every time.
The retail environment is engineered to induce decision fatigue until you just start putting ambient lighting in your cart to feel a sense of control.
Okay, I will concede the artichoke lamp is a step too far, but I have to defend the plant purchases.
Defend them, please.
I bought a massive monstera this weekend, and I truly believe plants are essential decor.
Essential.
Yes, they bring biological life into a sterile space. When you have a thriving plant in the corner, it makes the drywall box feel like an actual home. It shows you can nurture something.
Okay, I am going to aggressively push back on the romanticization of houseplants.
Why? They're beautiful.
Plants are not decor. They are a high-stakes, unpaid biological responsibility that I did not sign up for when I was looking for a pop of green.
They just need water.
No. A ceramic vase is decor. A framed print is decor. A plant is a living, breathing entity that will decide to dramatically perish just because you looked at it with the wrong energy or gave it a quarter cup too much tap water.
It's not that dramatic.
It is a guilt trip in a terracotta pot that constantly reminds you of your failure to sustain life.
But the dopamine hit when it actually sprouts a new leaf. Unparalleled. It makes you feel like a domestic god.
A domestic god who is spending $40 on specialized dirt.
I am constantly rearranging my living room furniture to give this plant optimal light. I move the accent chair to the left, step back, squint, move it back to the right.
And nothing has changed.
And I convinced myself that with just one perfectly draped throw blanket, my living room could be a featured spread in Architectural Digest.
The Architectural Digest delusion is what keeps the middle-class furniture industry alive. We're all just rearranging the same 3 pieces of mid-century modern furniture, waiting for a camera crew that is never coming.
It's so true. But honestly, while we are exhausting ourselves trying to fix our apartments and our brunch dynamics, the women of Orange County are out here trying and completely failing to fix their fractured friendships.
Segue of the century. The psychological warfare of the apologies this season is, frankly, a masterclass in manipulation.
We need to officially rank the anatomy of a Housewives apology because this week gave us the entire toxic spectrum.
Let's break down the mechanics. At the very bottom of the barrel, like the absolute lowest tier of human communication, we have the classic, the I'm sorry, but.
Oh, the worst.
This is not an apology. It is a justification wearing a fake mustache.
A fake mustache.
The word but functions as a linguistic eraser. It immediately deletes whatever feigned remorse came before it and pivots the conversation right back to why the person issuing the apology is actually the victim.
It is entirely defensive. It's so gross. Then, moving slightly up the scale, but infinitely more exhausting, you have the overdramatic, performative crying apology.
Oh, the tears.
This is where the person apologizes, but they cry so hysterically about the guilt of what they did to you that the dynamic flips.
Yes.
Suddenly, you are forced to abandon your own hurt feelings to comfort them for the pain they caused you.
It is brilliant, twisted, emotional judo.
It really is.
So the weaponization of tears to avoid accountability.
So toxic.
Another favorite tactic in this franchise is the blame-shifting apology.
Oh, break this one down.
The structure goes, I am sorry I screamed at you, but if the waitress had brought my drink faster, and if Mercury wasn't in retrograde, and if you hadn't looked at me funny, I wouldn't have said it.
Right. The universe made them do it.
Exactly. The locus of control is entirely externalized. They take responsibility for the volume of their voice,
Yeah.
but assign the trigger to literal astrology.
I actually find the blame shifter the most damaging because it completely invalidates the reality of the person who was hurt.
Completely.
It tells them their pain is real, but it's collateral damage of a chaotic universe, not the fault of the person sitting across from them.
It's gaslighting adjacent.
But what about the genuine apology? The unicorn scenario where someone states what they did wrong, acknowledges the impact, and their behavior actually changes moving forward.
A mythical creature in the reality television ecosystem.
We never see it.
We rarely see it because change behavior doesn't guarantee a contract renewal. But for me, the most insidious apology on the ranking board is the let's move forward tactic.
Oh, the sweep under the rug.
Yes. Someone will initiate a nuclear, earth-shattering fight, say the most vile character-assassinating things on camera, and then exactly 5 minutes later, when they realize they look bad, they wave their hands and say, you know what? Let's just move forward.
It is a complete refusal to process the conflict.
Entirely.
They set the bridge on fire and then suggest you both just walk across the ashes. You cannot put a cheap Band-Aid on a bullet wound and call it healed just because you're tired of looking at the blood.
It is a manipulative reset button. But babes, enough about our own beautifully chaotic lives.
Yeah.
Let's head to Orange County, where brunch is never just brunch, and one innocent question somehow turns into a season-long feud.
I am so ready to unpack this. Building directly off our apology rankings, we have to talk about Tamra Judge utilizing that dreaded "I'm sorry, but" tactic during the heavily anticipated sit-down with Shannon Beador and Vicki Gunvalson.
To Tres Amigas.
The Tres Amigas reunion was giving me severe anxiety before they even ordered drinks.
Well, let's analyze the geographical psychology of this scene first.
Okay, set the scene.
Vicki orchestrates this lunch at the Quiet Woman. Now, for the Snark Squad who might not have the historical context, the Quiet Woman is an absolute OC staple, referred to by basically everyone as a literal meat market.
Oh, yeah.
But the crucial detail is that Vicki intentionally seats them at the exact same booth where Shannon historically had her meltdown and threw a plate at Kelly Dodd years ago.
The cursed booth.
Yes.
The energy in that specific booth is permanently cursed. It is a trauma site.
Returning to the scene of the crime is such a subtle, manipulative producer move, and Vicki leans right into it.
She does.
Vicki literally starts the lunch by establishing ground rules like a hostage negotiator. She looks at Tamra and says, no bad words, no calling anyone a drunk, no calling anyone broke.
Which is incredibly strategic of Vicki because she is instantly establishing dominance over the table and preemptively blocking Tamra's favorite weapons.
Exactly. Let's rewind to the genesis of this conflict because Shannon's fury is entirely justified here.
Very justified.
During the filming of The Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, Roaring Twenties, which by the way is a show that hasn't even aired yet.
Which is so confusing.
Right, meaning they're fighting in present time over past footage we haven't even seen. But apparently, Tamra screamed at Shannon, calling her a drunk who will never get a man and claiming she had no money.
Tamra essentially formed a triad of Shannon's deepest insecurities.
A holy trinity of insults.
She hit her romantic life, her financial stability, and her complicated relationship with alcohol all in one breath. That is not a casual insult. That is a targeted drone strike on Shannon's psyche.
Completely calculated.
So they are sitting at this curse booth, the tension is suffocating, and Shannon looks Tamra dead in the eye and asks the most vulnerable question you can ask an enemy. How do you think that makes me feel?
And Tamra's immediate biological response is deflection.
Of course it is.
Because we know Tamra met up with Vicki beforehand and literally rehearsed not apologizing. She pre-planned her refusal to take accountability.
Which is wild.
So when cornered at the table, she pulls out the, I'm sorry, but? She tries to pivot the spotlight onto how she feels, claiming Shannon's reactions make her act out.
But Shannon's boundary is firm this time. She clocks the pivot and refuses to let the conversation drift.
She held her ground.
She did. And this is the moment I have to give massive credit to Vicki Gunvalson.
Wait, Icky?
Really.
Yes.
Vicki physically steps into the gap. She stops the deflection and says, "Answer the question. Stop deflecting." How do you think it made her feel?
The mediator we didn't know we needed.
Vicki forces Tamra to stay in the discomfort of the moment. Under that dual pressure, Tamra finally breaks and delivers what actually sounded like a sincere apology.
You think it was sincere?
I do. She looks at Shannon and says, "Sincerely, I am sorry for hurting you." Babes, I got emotional. The franchise needs the chemistry of the Tres Amigos. When they are united, it is television gold, and I genuinely believe Tamra felt remorse in that specific second.
Okay, your empathy is beautiful, but my analytical snark forces me to dismantle it.
Dismantle away, but I want to believe.
That peace treaty has an expiration date stamped in invisible ink, and it expires the millisecond the Bravo cameras pack up.
No.
Yes. We have 2 decades of longitudinal data on Tamra Judge's behavioral patterns. She stabs people in the chest, twists the knife to ensure maximum damage, and then looks at them with wide, innocent eyes, asking why they are bleeding all over her shoes.
I refuse to believe people are incapable of growth. She sat in the discomfort and apologized.
She apologized to survive a scene where she was outnumbered 2-to-1 by seasoned veterans.
You're so cynical.
I'm observant. If you want proof of her lack of growth, look at what happens in the exact same lunch regarding Emily.
Oh, the podcast thing.
Yes. Tamra tries to sweep her other conflict under the rug by bringing up the joke she made about getting Emily banned from iHeart podcast events. When Shannon brings it up, Tamra's defensive walls instantly shoot back up. She says, "I was clearly joking. Why can't anybody let things go?"
That moment infuriated me, actually.
Why?
Because it highlights how Tamra uses humor as a shield. Whether she meant it as a joke or not, it actively hurt Emily.
Right.
Emily interpreted it as a blatant power play, Tamra, asserting dominance by threatening Emily's livelihood and platform. But because Tamra retroactively labels it a joke, she defangs the cruelty.
Exactly.
If Emily doesn't laugh, Emily becomes the difficult, humorless villain.
It is a textbook avoidance tactic. Tamra rebrands her insults as comedy to avoid the messy reality of processing emotional fallout. She just doesn't want to do the work.
She really doesn't.
Which provides a seamless conceptual link to our next topic.
Yeah.
Because while the adults at the Quiet Women are throwing tantrums and avoiding the reality of their actions, we are seeing actual teenage rebellion spiraling out of control over at Jennifer Pedranti's house.
Oh, this storyline was incredibly heavy.
Very dark.
We find out that Jen's 17-year-old son, Grayson, got a $700 speeding ticket. But the detail that stops the heart is the speed. He was clocked driving 105 miles per hour on an Orange County highway.
105 miles per hour. Let's pause and consider the neurology here.
It's terrifying.
He is 17 years old. His frontal lobe, the part of the brain responsible for risk assessment and understanding long-term consequences, is essentially mush. He is piloting a 2-ton metal missile down a public road.
A normal household would initiate a lockdown?
The car keys would be melted down into slag. But instead, the house is in a state of emotional paralysis.
Because Grayson has completely shut down emotionally.
Yeah.
He is isolating in his room, refusing to communicate.
Right.
And Jen's fiancé, Ryan, steps in with a theory. Ryan, who, by the way, we must acknowledge, has an obsessively curated, hyper-organized closet full of sleeveless black tees and these aggressively loud, Liberace-esque glitter jackets.
Ryan's closet looks like the wardrobe department for a magician who performs exclusively on budget cruise ships.
Budget cruise ships? That is so accurate.
The rigid organization of his clothing is a stark contrast to the absolute chaos of the parenting happening outside that closet door.
Exactly. So Ryan tells Jen that this extreme acting out isn't just about a heavy foot on the gas pedal. Ryan draws a direct line between the speeding and the lack of a relationship with Grayson's biological father, Will.
Okay.
Ryan argues that the father's absence is creating a vacuum of authority and stability, and Grayson is acting out to feel something or get attention.
Which forces Jen into a highly produced, emotionally raw sit-down with Grayson.
The sit-down broke me.
Really?
Yes. Jen approaches him, and Grayson strips away the teenage bravado and admits he is drowning. He articulates that the divorce is a dark cloud over everything he does.
Yeah, I would say.
He's grappling with the rejection of an absent father, and on top of that, he confesses he's being bullied at school.
A lot for a teenager.
Jen's reaction is pure maternal devastation. She completely breaks down, she takes the blame for his pain, and she actually apologizes to him.
Right.
She calls the 105-mile-per-hour ticket stupid, minimizing the crime to pacify his emotional state. And I will fiercely defend Jenn here.
You're defending minimizing 105 miles per hour?
I'm defending her empathy. The crippling guilt of a messy public divorce, you can physically see it crushing her. She is practicing gentle parenting because she desperately wants to be his safe harbor in a storm he didn't ask to be in.
Look, I hear your defense, and I recognize the profound trauma that divorce inflicts on children. But we need a severe reality check on the definition of gentle parenting.
Tell me.
Gentle parenting still requires firm boundaries. It just removes the punitive shame. What Jenn is doing is permissive parenting fueled by maternal guilt.
But she's just trying to connect with him.
Grayson was driving 105 miles per hour. He could have ended his own life or obliterated a minivan full of innocent people. And Jenn is sitting on his bed, crying and apologizing to him.
She is trying to address the root cause of the behavior, the emotional pain, rather than just punishing the symptom. If she grounds him, he just isolates further. She is trying to build a bridge.
She is building a bridge out of wet paper. Ryan is actually the voice of reason here, which is terrifying to admit.
It is weird when Ryan is the voice of reason.
Ryan sees the lethal danger of this lack of discipline. A 17-year-old fundamentally understands the physics and legality of driving over 100 miles an hour. To dismiss it as stupid to protect his feelings is an abdication of parental authority.
I mean, I guess.
And we know there's even darker background gossip. Allegedly, one of Jenn's sons, potentially a minor, was recently involved in a severe fire incident off camera.
Which is a terrifying escalation of thrill-seeking behavior.
It proves that the household environment is completely devoid of guardrails. These boys are highly intelligent. They have mapped their mother's psychology.
They know how to play her.
Exactly. They know exactly which emotional levers to pull: the divorce trauma, the absent father narrative, so that whenever they commit an objectively dangerous act, she absorbs the guilt and ends up comforting them.
Oh, wow.
Ryan might dress like a Vegas illusionist, but he is correctly identifying that these teenagers are crying out for strict, immovable boundaries, not just endless emotional validation.
I hate conceding this, but the escalation to a fire incident does suggest the emotional validation isn't curbing the destructive impulses.
Right.
Jenn's desire to be the cool, safe mom is inadvertently putting them in danger. And speaking of the vital importance of setting firm, immovable boundaries, we must transition to the absolute boss era of Gina Kirschenheiter.
A phenomenal pivot from the chaos of permissive parenting to the cold, hard pragmatism of financial planning. Gina demanding a prenup is the character arc of the season.
I have never been more proud of a housewife.
Honestly, same.
Gina sits down with Travis and does not mince words. She makes it crystal clear. A prenuptial agreement is a non-negotiable prerequisite to marriage. We are witnessing a massive shift in power dynamics here.
Massive.
Gina is now the primary breadwinner. She has built a legitimate real estate career. She has her Bravo television salary. And she looks Travis in the eye and essentially says, I have crawled through the mud to build this wealth, and my ultimate obligation is protecting my children's financial future.
It was a masterclass in separating emotion from economics. There were no hysterics, no ultimatums masked as tears. It was pure, pragmatic boundary setting.
It is beautiful.
She is overturning the traditional reality TV trope where the woman relies entirely on the man's wealth. Gina also brings up the logistical nightmare of changing her last name.
Oh my gosh, yes.
She points out that hyphenating to Kirschenheiter-Mullen is an absolute alphabet soup disaster, which is just factually accurate.
It is entirely too many syllables for a legal document.
Nobody wants to write that check.
And the way Travis handles this conversation is so crucial. A lot of men would feel their masculinity threatened by a female partner demanding asset protection, but Travis doesn't flinch.
He was remarkably chill about it.
He validates her need for security and assures her there is zero pressure to change her name. It's an incredibly healthy, albeit unromantic, negotiation of modern partnership.
But the true comedy of this entire situation was Vicki Gunvalson's reaction to Gina's financial boundaries.
Wait, I loved her reaction.
Vicki Gunvalson, the patron saint of insurance and self-made wealth, was practically vibrating with respect.
She was.
Historically, Vicki has dismissed the younger cast members, but the moment Gina started talking about asset protection, Vicki fully validated her.
Because that's her love language.
In Vicki's psychological framework, your worth is directly tied to your work ethic and your financial independence. Seeing Gina protect her assets elevated Gina to top-tier status in Vicki's mind.
But the contrast between how these two women handle boundaries with men is deeply alarming.
Night and day.
Gina is securing her financial and romantic future with clear communication, while Vicki is trapped in a situation with Michael that feels fundamentally toxic.
The hostage situation with the engagement ring. We have to unpack this.
We really do. Vicki admits to Gina and Jenn that her boyfriend, Michael, purchased an engagement ring over a year ago.
A year?
But instead of proposing, he is keeping the ring locked in a physical safe. He explicitly told Vicki that she will not get the ring until she, quote, shapes up and behaves like a good girl.
The alarm bells are deafening.
It's disgusting.
This is not romance. This is textbook operant conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
He is treating a grown, wildly successful woman like a subject in a behavioral psychology experiment.
Literally.
He is dangling the ultimate symbol of commitment like a dog treat to control her actions, her tone, and her personality. It is a massive radioactive red flag of coercive control.
It is so painful to watch because Vicki's psychological need for validation from a male partner is her Achilles heel.
Her love tank.
Her love tank is constantly running on empty, and she is so terrified of abandonment that she will accept absolute crumbs or the vague promise of a ring locked behind steel just to avoid being alone. She is entirely compromising her self-worth.
Completely.
I fully stand with Jenn, who cut right through the delusion in her confessional and simply said, "Screw you and your ring."
Jenn correctly identified the power imbalance. How does a woman who built an insurance empire allow a man to dictate her behavior through the promise of jewelry?
It makes no sense.
Speaking of the weaponization of jewelry and luxury goods, we have to examine the absolute chaos introduced by the newest cast member, Carmella Garcia.
Oh my dad, Carmella is operating on an entirely different frequency.
Completely different planet.
So it is Emily's birthday, and Carmella decides to make a massive splash. She purchases Emily a gold Dior saddlebag clutch. We are talking a highly coveted $3,000 to $5,000 designer piece.
The power dynamics of extreme gifting are fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Handing someone a $5,000 gift shortly after meeting them is a flex of dominance. It immediately creates a debt of gratitude. But Carmella doesn't stop at the flex. She introduces the dildo dilemma.
I still cannot believe this happened. Carmella stuffed an adult toy, a vibrator, inside the Dior bag as a gag gift.
And Emily's reaction is a fascinating study in brand management.
Emily is furious. She seeks out Heather Dubrow to complain, arguing that Carmella repeatedly pressured her at the party to open the gift in front of the cameras.
He felt ambushed.
Emily's thesis is that Carmella intentionally orchestrated this to create a viral, shocking television moment at Emily's expense, flexing her wealth while simultaneously humiliating her.
Okay, let's dissect that.
I'm going to defend Emily's anxiety here. Emily has cultivated a specific image as a conservative, protective mother. She didn't open the bag at the party, and she told Heather she was horrified by the realization that she could have casually opened this luxury gift at home in her kitchen and pulled out a vibrator directly in front of her young children. That is a valid boundary violation. You do not bring sexualized gag gifts into someone's life without knowing their comfort level.
Okay, I will counter that by examining Carmella's background.
Go ahead.
Carmella is a former Playboy model and a former WWE wrestler. She comes from two industries, entirely built on shock value, body humor, and physical flexing.
True.
In her socio-cultural bubble, throwing an adult toy into a luxury bag is just a hilarious icebreaker. She expects people to laugh. I genuinely believe Emily is projecting strategic malice onto what was just a crass, culturally misaligned joke.
But you have to read the room.
Even Heather Dubrow, the queen of propriety, told Emily to take a breath, enjoy the free Dior, and stop complaining.
Which is shocking coming from Heather. I understand Carmella's background, but it shows a severe lack of situational awareness.
It's sloppy, sure.
But the vibrating Dior bag isn't even the most revealing part of Carmella's character this week. It's the scene in her kitchen with her daughters that truly exposes her.
Oh, the parallels to the broader themes of the episode are striking here. We see Carmella in her rental house, which, by the way, we know is actually in Rancho Santa Fe, not Orange County, adding a layer of geographical fraud to the mix.
Casual fraud.
Right. She's talking to her 14-year-old daughter. The daughter, casually, without an ounce of fear, mentions she skipped school that day.
And the justification for truancy is mind-blowing. She wasn't sick. She wasn't preparing for SATs. She skipped high school to, quote, Get a tan and watch TV.
Unbelievable.
It felt like a deleted scene from the early 2000s drama, The O.C. The entitlement is staggering.
What is more staggering is Carmella's reaction, which perfectly mirrors the permissive parenting we analyzed with Jenn and Grayson.
Exactly.
Carmella barely pauses putting away the dishes. There is zero consequence. She simply murmurs, "Your father's going to be pissed." Guys, don't. That is the entirety of the reprimand. Guys, don't.
It is the abdication of the maternal role. She defers the authority entirely to the absent father and speaks to her daughters like a slightly annoyed roommate.
Guys, don't. Like she's talking to a frat bro who ate her yogurt.
Yes. We are witnessing a massive generational shift where parents are so desperate to be liked by their teenagers, so fearful of causing friction, that they surrender all authority.
The teenagers in Orange County are running the mansions. They are skipping school for UV rays, they are driving 100 miles an hour, and the parents are just passive observers.
It is a terrifying sociological trend, but the show forces us to sharply pivot from these self-inflicted parenting crises to a moment of visceral, unavoidable reality. We have to discuss Tamra's visit to Teddy Mellencamp.
This is the most sobering segment of the entire season. The tone shifts entirely.
It does. Tamra goes to visit Teddy, who is at home recovering from an incredibly invasive, terrifying surgery for melanoma and brain cancer.
The physical toll on Teddy is obvious. She looks fragile, completely stripped of the reality TV armor she usually wears.
Oh, stripped down.
She recounts a conversation with her doctor, where the doctor bluntly told her that many patients with her specific condition lose the ability to walk, and therefore she should be grateful for her current state.
And Teddy's reaction to that medical advice is so profoundly human. She breaks down crying and confesses that she doesn't always feel grateful.
Which is so valid.
She admits to feeling immense pressure to project positivity, and when she feels angry or terrified instead, she feels like she's failing the people around her.
It is a brilliant critique of the toxic positivity demanded of chronically ill patients.
Exactly.
Society, and often the medical establishment, requires patients to perform gratitude to make the healthy people around them feel more comfortable with mortality.
Wow, that's heavy, but so true.
Teddy's admission that she is allowed to be angry that she has cancer, rather than just grateful she isn't dead yet, is a massive breakthrough.
It completely validated her right to process grief on her own terms. It is so difficult to maintain a composed exterior when your body is betraying you. And you can see the profound impact this confession has on Tamra. For a brief moment, the petty reality TV grievances the podcast invite slights. The thrown plates, they evaporate. Tamra is grounded by the realization of how fragile life actually is.
It is a necessary interruption. It forces the viewer and the cast to remember that outside the Bravo bubble, visceral, terrifying, real life is happening.
Yeah.
Of course, Tamra will inevitably revert to her baseline behavior, but the temporary clarity was striking.
It was a beautiful, raw moment. But babes, we cannot stay in the heavy emotional waters forever, because the off-screen gossip this week requires immediate and rigorous analysis.
The tea is piping hot.
The Snark Side gossip dump is absolutely scorching.
Let's start with the digital Scorched Earth campaign executed by former Bravo producer Patrick McDonald.
Okay, for the Snark Squad who haven't obsessively refreshed the blogs, Patrick McDonald was a supervising producer across multiple massive Bravo franchises: Beverly Hills, OC, Vanderpump Rules.
So a very connected guy.
Very connected. Now, his exit from the network is shrouded in murky rumors involving adult content creation and alleged industry blackballing. But he recently took to social media and completely eviscerated Shannon Beador.
He didn't just drag her, he offered a psychological profile.
He did.
He labeled Shannon one of the most miserable and narcissistic housewives across the entire Bravo brand.
The specific operational details he leaked are what fascinated me.
Tell us.
He described the jarring whiplash of watching Shannon completely lose her grip on reality behind the scenes, screaming, cussing, and berating the crew and producers, only to instantly snap into tired old performative shtick the exact second the cameras start rolling.
I analyze his claims as absolute, unvarnished truth.
You believe him?
100%. The phenomenon of the dual persona is common in reality television, but Shannon's seems particularly extreme. When she feels a loss of control, which is her baseline state, she projects that anxiety aggressively downward onto the crew, people she perceives as having less power.
That makes so much sense.
The fact that a former producer is openly confirming the off-camera toxicity validates years of viewer suspicion about her manufactured on-camera victimhood.
It is a fascinating glimpse into the labor dynamics of reality TV production.
Truly.
But the gossip gets even more expensive. We have to dissect the Terry Dubrow wager.
The $100,000 bet that shook the foundations of Orange County.
I love this story so much.
Vicki Gunvalson, in her infinite wisdom, has been quietly circulating a rumor that Terry Dubrow's late brother, Kevin Dubrow, the iconic lead singer of the rock band Quiet Riot, is the one who financially bankrolled Terry's medical school education.
Okay, Terry's entire public identity is built on the narrative of being a self-made, intellectually superior, top-tier plastic surgeon.
Right.
Vicki attacking the financial origin story of his empire struck the ultimate nerve. So Terry utilizes the Dubrow family's favorite weapon. He calls TMZ.
Obviously.
He publicly issues a challenge to Vicki, betting her $100,000 that he can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he never took a single dime from his brother for his education.
It is the ultimate intersection of fragile male ego and limitless disposable income.
Totally.
Terry's essentially saying, I am so deeply offended by this slight against my self-made mythos that I will casually risk $100,000 just to publicly humiliate you and force a retraction.
It's so petty and I love it.
It proves that Vicki, despite her chaotic behavior, knows exactly how to surgically strike a nerve.
I genuinely want Vicki to accept the bet. Imagine the cinematic brilliance of the reunion ending with Terry dragging a giant novelty-sized check for $100,000 onto the set. It would belong in the Reality Television Hall of Fame.
Oh, Vicki does not have the liquid capital to risk $100,000 on a rumor she likely overheard third hand at a country club bar, but the theater of the challenge is exquisite.
Okay, babes, we have analyzed the trauma, we have unpacked the gossip, and now it is time for our favorite analytical segments. Let's get into segment 1, Orange of Honor.
This is the arena where we hand out our highly specific, fiercely defended awards based on the psychology and behavior of this week's cast. I will take the lead.
Do it.
My award for episode MVP goes, without hesitation, to Gina Kirschenheiter.
A strong opening move. Defend the thesis.
Gina single-handedly shattered the prevailing financial delusion of this franchise. Instead of crying over a man's wealth or ignoring red flags, she sat her partner down and pragmatically demanded a prenuptial agreement.
She did the work.
She prioritized the long-term financial security of her children over the short-term romance of an engagement. In a landscape littered with bankruptcies and hidden assets, Gina chose logic. She is the indisputable MVP.
I fully support that. Okay, for my first award, the Orange for Funniest Confessional, I am awarding Jennifer Pedranti.
Jen, the woman who spent the whole time crying over a speeding ticket.
Yes, specifically for her deadpan, cut through the bullshit delivery regarding Vicki's hostage engagement ring.
Oh, right.
Amidst all the heavy emotional processing, Jen just stares blankly at the camera and says, for me, I would be like, screw you and your ring.
Classic.
It was an instant, visceral rejection of Vicki's toxic relationship dynamics. It was hilarious because it was so painfully true.
The brevity was the source of the comedy.
Yeah.
Accepted. Now, for best dressed, I am awarding this to Emily Simpson.
The woman who is constantly in gym clothes. Explain the rationale.
The brilliance lies in context. It wasn't her own wardrobe. The award goes to Emily while she was physically inside Jen and Ryan's chaotic closet.
Oh my God, yes.
Emily was serving absolute high-fashion looks while ironically modeling Ryan's discarded, sequined, Mike the Situation coated jackets.
She really was.
She managed to look incredible while actively launching a sartorial critique of a terrible wardrobe. It was multi-layered fashion warfare.
The vision is clear. I can see it. Okay, moving to most unintentionally messy. This title permanently belongs to Carmella Garcia.
The architect of the Dior dilemma.
Exactly. Carmella genuinely, in her heart of hearts, believed that handing a highly conservative mother a $4,000 designer clutch stuffed with a vibrator would just be a fun, breezy networking moment.
She thought she was doing something.
The total lack of sociological awareness, the inability to read the room, and the pure chaos of thinking that action wouldn't trigger a cascading spiral of anxiety and complaints. It is the definition of unintentional mess.
She fundamentally miscalculated the cultural anthropology of her new friend group.
Big time.
Finally, the award for biggest scene stealer. And this orange does not go to a cast member. It goes to Grayson's 105-mile-per-hour speeding ticket.
The piece of paper that stopped the show.
That citation hijacked the entire narrative structure. We pivoted from arguing over podcast invitations to a deep, uncomfortable examination of the collapse of teenage boundaries. and the generational trauma inflicted by divorce.
It was a sharp left turn.
That single traffic ticket carried more emotional and narrative weight than Tamra's entire orchestrated apology tour at The Quiet Woman.
It anchored everything in reality. Which leads us perfectly into segment 2, the Bravo Burn book.
My favorite.
Snark Squad. This is the exercise where we anonymously write one sentence about major housewives, analyzing their core flaws as if we are passing notes in the back of a psychology lecture. We read them aloud, identify the subject, and break down the reasoning.
I will unfold the first note. It reads, "Would rather fight about a podcast invite than face real feelings."
That is the defining psychological profile of Tamra Judge.
Precisely. It highlights her primary defense mechanism, weaponized avoidance.
Yes.
Tamra uses petty, superficial conflicts, like a joke about an iHeartRadio event, as a smokescreen.
A total smokescreen.
She manufactures a screaming match about a guest list, so she never has to sit in the quiet discomfort and admit, "I am deeply insecure, I fear irrelevance, and I project that fear by surgically attacking the vulnerabilities of the women around me."
The podcast fight is just a decoy for the real pain. Okay, here's my first note from the burn book. Needs to realize a gold clutch doesn't buy a personality, but I'll still take one.
That is a direct read of our chaotic newcomer, Carmella.
It is. I appreciate the visual spectacle of extreme wealth, but deploying luxury items the second you meet someone is a transparent attempt to buy loyalty and bypass the actual work of building a friendship.
It's a shortcut.
It is a flex designed to mask the fact that she lacks a defined identity on the show beyond her past careers and her truant teenagers. But to be clear, if she is distributing Dior, I am submitting my shipping address.
Ethics go out the window when Chanel or Dior are involved, obviously.
Obvious.
Here's my next note. Expects loyalty, but holds jewelry hostage.
Oh, that applies to the toxic ecosystem of Michael and Vicki.
It targets the specific power imbalance Michael enforces.
Yeah.
You cannot demand absolute obedience and submission from a partner while dangling the ultimate symbol of commitment inside a locked steel safe.
It's sick.
It is an emotionally abusive tactic designed to keep Vicki in a perpetual state of anxiety and compliance.
It is coercive control, plain and simple. All right, my final note for the burn book. Professional victim who never checks the back of her own hair.
That is a flawless summary of Shannon Storm's Beador.
I am fiercely defending Shannon's right to be angry at Tamra this week, but Shannon's overarching flaw is a total absence of self-awareness.
Zero self-awareness.
She constantly bemoans that she is the target of unprovoked attacks, but she refuses to examine how her own manic energy, her behind-the-scenes screaming at producers, and her frantic need for constant validation create the exact chaotic environment she claims to despise.
She is oblivious to the messes she leaves in her own wake. A brilliant analysis.
Thank you.
Which seamlessly brings us to segment 3, receipt or reach. This is the analytical proving ground where we evaluate the most controversial claims from the women and rule if they are a receipt, meaning completely logically justified, a reach, meaning a psychological stretch, or delusion, meaning a total break from reality.
I love this game.
Let's start with the heaviest debate, claim. Grayson, acting out and driving 105 miles per hour, is entirely Will's fault for being an absent father.
Oof. After unpacking the nuances of the household, I have to rule this a reach.
It is a massive, definitive reach. We acknowledge the deep psychological wounds inflicted by absentee parents. However, a 17-year-old possesses the cognitive ability to understand that driving 105 miles per hour is a lethal action.
Yes.
Blaming the absent father is a convenient narrative that absolves the present mother of her failure to enforce boundaries. The speeding is a symptom of the current environment's lack of discipline, not just a ghost from the divorce.
I have to agree. You cannot put 100% of the liability on the parent who isn't there when the parent who is there is apologizing for a traffic crime.
Exactly. Next claim. Michael withholding Vicki's engagement ring in a safe is manipulative.
Oh, receipt. Print the receipt, laminate the receipt, frame the receipt.
It is the textbook definition of behavioral manipulation. He is explicitly stating, "I will only bestow love and commitment if you conform to my exact, arbitrary standards of being a good girl."
Whoa.
It is infantilizing and controlling.
An undeniable receipt. Okay, final claim. Carmella intentionally tried to embarrass Emily on camera by hiding the vibrator in the bag and pressuring her to open it.
Delusion. Total narcissistic delusion on Emily's part.
I'm ruling delusion as well. Carmella operates on a baseline of crass, chaotic humor informed by her Playboy past. She lacks the strategic mastermind capabilities required to orchestrate a targeted, multi-layered humiliation campaign against Emily Simpson.
Completely lacks it.
Emily is taking herself entirely too seriously and projecting malicious intent onto what was fundamentally just a tone-deaf gag gift.
Emily wants to be the protagonist of a conspiracy that simply does not exist. Which brings us to our final, most high-stakes sociological experiment, the invitation list.
Yes. We're designing the ultimate Housewives dinner party using only the current OC cast.
The seating chart is a delicate ecosystem divided into 4 categories. Invited immediately, invited only if seated across the table, waitlist, and absolutely not getting the address. Let's construct this table.
Okay, for invited immediately, who is your pick?
My first selection is Gina. Based on this week's behavior, she is operating with extreme pragmatism. She is sober, which means she will not deplete the expensive wine inventory, and we can engage in rational, high-level discussions about real estate portfolios and asset protection.
A highly stable choice. My invited immediately goes to Carmella.
Really?
I am willing to risk the sociological chaos because the return on investment is undeniable. She brings top-tier designer gifts. I want a Dior clutch waiting at my place setting, regardless of what she hides inside it.
A mercenary approach, but respected. Moving to invited only if they're seated across the table.
The danger zone.
This category requires individuals who provide premium entertainment value but present a severe physical or emotional liability if seated too close. My pick is Tamra.
Oh, absolutely essential for the pacing of the evening.
Right.
Tamra will keep the conversational velocity high. She will ask the deeply inappropriate questions that cut through small talk, but you must position her at the far end of a lengthy physical barrier so you do not literally get stabbed in the back while eating the appetizer.
Keep her at arm's length. My second pick for the cross-table seating is Vicki.
Good choice.
Vicki is phenomenal. For a high-energy laugh, she will reliably whoop it up, but her invitation is strictly conditional. She is only allowed inside if she explicitly leaves Michael and his psychological safe at home. If Michael appears on the driveway, the deadbolts are engaged.
Fully endorsed. Now, the waitlist. This spot is reserved for Shannon Beador.
Explain the calculus behind waitlisting Shannon.
Because extending an invitation to Shannon is a high-stakes gamble based entirely on her fluctuating serotonin levels that specific day.
So true.
If she arrives in a balanced mood, she is incredibly fun and self-deprecating. If she arrives mid-spiral, she will hijack the narrative of the entire dinner, cry hysterically into the soup course, and complain endlessly about Dr. Tim.
And the catering risk.
Furthermore, her attendance heavily depends on the catering. If the quiet woman is providing the food, the risk of airborne ceramics is too high.
A logistical nightmare that requires too much risk assessment. Keep her on the wait list.
Yeah.
And finally, absolutely not getting the address. Who are we permanently banning from the property line?
Ryan. Jen's fiancé, Ryan.
1,000,000% Ryan.
I refuse to allow his specific frequency of energy into my home. He would arrive in a sleeveless black shirt or a sequin jacket, completely disrespecting the dress code.
He'd ruin the vibe.
He would immediately attempt to alpha male the entire table by offering unsolicited psychoanalysis on absent fathers, and his overly curated, weirdly pristine magician energy would completely disrupt the aesthetic harmony of the dinner party.
He would undoubtedly critique the ambient lighting choices and try to aggressively pitch a cryptocurrency investment before the dessert course is even served.
Permanently banned. So the final ecosystem is Gina and Carmella anchoring our sides, Tamra and Vicki shouting provocations from across a massive table, and Shannon pacing outside waiting for clearance.
I predict this dinner concludes with someone throwing a plate, someone else launching a tearful defense of a podcast, and Vicki mailing us a literal invoice for her time.
A flawless, mathematically perfect Orange County evening. Snark Squad, we have analyzed the behavior, unpacked the trauma, and designed the ultimate social experiment. But we need your data.
We do.
Slide into our comments and answer the critical questions. Which housewife earned the Orange of Honor this week for you? Who would you cast in your dream Housewives dinner party? And seriously, which psychological breakdown had you literally yelling at your television?
Let us know.
Yeah.
And thank you all so much for hanging out and analyzing the chaos with us. Do not forget to subscribe to the feed, leave us a glowing 5-star review, and share this with another Bravo-loving babe in your life.
Yes, please do.
But before we sign off, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on this week.
Ooh, present the thesis.
We spent a significant portion of this hanging out, analyzing the collapse of parental authority.
We did.
If we're witnessing this current generation of OC kids, Grayson driving 105 miles per hour without consequence, Carmella's daughters casually skipping school to tan, an absolute vacuum of boundaries allowing teenagers to basically run these mansions. What happens in 5 years?
Oh, God.
Are we looking at the inevitable launch of a reality TV spin-off featuring solely the unhinged, grown-up offspring of Orange County? And the truly terrifying question, armed with the wealth and without the boundaries, will they actually be worse than their mothers?
An OC Next Generation built entirely on permissive parenting. That is a chilling sociological prospect, and honestly, I would critically analyze every single episode.
Obviously, we would.
Babes, stay fabulous, stay a little messy, and we'll see you on the snark side.